Obviously, like, you have to keep up with what people are doing on the internet. Like, you see one thing and then the next day, now, like, the world that we're living in, there's so many trends. So, like, there might be one thing that's in, and then, like, a month later, there's, like, a new thing that's really popular, so.
In the face-to-face, we know what we can handle. So if you're going and you're talking to one person or two people or three people, you get a sense of, I can tolerate this. Like, this is as much as I can deal with. When you go digital, you're basically amplifying yourself way out. And so the question is, how much can you handle? And maybe it's how much upside can you handle, like how much encouragement or how much positivity can you handle. But there's also a downside of how much rejection can you handle, how much disappointment you can handle, how much frustration you can handle. These are some of the real typical anxieties that you guys might be feeling, if unconsciously, around digital and sort of the digital world. FOMO, do you guys know about that?
I mean, I haven't heard the acronym before, but I definitely know the feeling.
So
I'm reading the definition.
Tell us about the feeling. What's your...
like you see on, I guess you could say, like Facebook or even like Snapchat story, all the time you see like your friends like hanging out with all these people and you're like, oh, I'm alone right now. And even if you like, there's like no way you could actually get to them, even if you wanted to, it's still just like, yeah, it's just like it makes you feel bad.
Your good friend, like your other good friend, like hanging out together, you're like, oh,
You're like,
I'm so bored.
I'm doing nothing.
Have you felt that feeling at all?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that, like if there's like an event that maybe I'm not at, or like my friends are hanging out with each other like they were saying, sometimes I kind of feel, I guess, like kind of left out. It can like happen, I guess, if just after school my friends go and hang out, that can like make me feel left out, or if it's like online.
Do you guys worry about how you're getting interpreted or rethink it or second guess yourselves?
Yeah,
Like that's the one that I'm a little neurotic about, because even if I'm texting like a very close friend, at least half of my text messages have smiley faces or an exclamation point or an LOL, because as you could probably tell, I'm a really bubbly person in real life, and so I rely on my like tone of voice to like say something, and I'm like, I'm just happy all the time. And so when I'm like texting someone and say like we're making plans for something and I just put okay, I'm like, wait, what if they read that as like okay or okay, like, and I'm like, oh god, let me put a smiley face, because I don't want that to be like someone's feelings get hurt.
There's something about like okay, especially like a period after it.
Yeah, oh no, if you add a dot at the end, that's like bad news. Oh.
Yeah, it's like freaks
How do you finesse that so you're better understood? And what are some ways that you guys...
Well, sometimes you kind of just like wait, like really tense and anxious while you wait for the person to respond,
Yeah,
like hoping that they understand you.
And I think that like when it's, to me, whenever I'm either in like an argument or just not in an argument, just something that I need to get out to someone, I always prefer to do it either like on the phone or in person, because it's on the phone if I'm not with that person. And a lot of my friends are just like, just text it to me, and I'm always just like, I'd rather do it face to face.
You're sort of using human skills. I mean, tone of voice, facial expressions, connection in that analog way to close the gaps where digital wouldn't totally cut it.
Yeah.
So the next one, like anxiety, it's really the anxiety of feeling like you're not getting a like, or kind of more broadly, the validation, or the appreciation for something you put out there. Do you guys ever post stuff or put stuff out there, kind of bracing yourself and waiting and, and feeling a sense of tension or anxiety about how is this going to be received?
When I say like I change my profile picture on Facebook or something, like when you first like change it, there's like kind of like you keep getting notifications and like your phone keeps buzzing and you keep checking it.
Oh yeah, like the next day when
Yeah.
it's just like,
Right.
oh yeah.
But
I really do notice that a lot of people who get tons of likes and have tons of followers on like Instagram or Facebook and stuff like that do tend to think that they are really popular and that everyone knows who they are and stuff, when really you either haven't met them or all their followers haven't even met them before.
Kind of validation or other
what other feelings are you experiencing?
I guess it makes you feel better about your appearance or your social standing or yourself.
What I was saying yesterday when we were talking is I was saying if like social media and stuff didn't have likes,
Much of a want to actually post stuff in the first place,
Yeah.
or if that desire would want to go away
Yeah.
because there'd be no source of self-validation.
And I
It's
feel
like-
likes used to like not be talked about as much, like how much likes mattered to people, even if they did matter. But I think that in the past year, people have been like more acknowledging of like how much they want them. Like people have been like, "Oh, are you in the 100 club? We're in the 100 club."
And then like also on Instagram, like obviously I don't really like, it's not a big deal if I like don't get a certain amount of likes, but like there's always just like this one number like floating around that I just want to pass.
But if we recognize that, you know, like sort of your sense of self is a pie chart, and there's little slices that represent each different things. Yeah, I like to get likes, but I also like to feel a sense of connecting with people. But I also, like to go out and hang out with friends, after school, and I also like to spend some time with my family. And it's all mapped out into a balance. Somebody might look at one slice of that pie and say, "Whoa, why are you spending an hour on Facebook posting different selfies and trying to get a bunch of likes?" And sort of the non-neurotic or the balanced answer to that would be, I'm spending, an hour because that's what I'm into right now, and I accept that I like the feeling of people liking me digitally, but not at the expense of everything else in my life. So that's just one balanced piece of my life. And it's interesting because all of your guys' answers are, for me, surprisingly balanced. A lot of people that I deal with in psychiatry have really imbalanced answers and are going full tilt for one of these big, pie slices. But you guys seem to have a very balanced and kind of mature response to this.